And it should be on their cameras too. So you'll see.
Did he threaten you or anything?
Nah, I never talked to him.
Okay. No contact with him? I'm just
never talked to him. Thank you, Jesus. Nah, I didn't get out the car. I didn't talk to him. None of that. It's just the point of harassment. People stalking you.
Does he live in your town?
Nope.
No? He's
one of them YouTubers that just like, how can I say it? Jump up on adrenaline.
Okay. Would your chief have his...
Wait, he's a YouTuber.
Tiffany Henyard, the mayor of Dolton, Illinois, has found herself at the center of a major scandal as leaked body cam footage reveals her recent arrest by federal authorities. Henyard, who has been under investigation for a prolonged period, faces serious allegations of corruption and misconduct that have led to her downfall. This series of events has sparked outrage among Dolton residents and officials who have been waiting for justice to be served.
It was just so bad, and you could tell why there's so much of a trail of incompetence and illegal activity. Those three people are not bright. And they're not even average intelligence. It's below intelligence. I think they believe what they say is great, and they're killing it, and everyone's believing what they're saying, and it's the complete opposite. Everything they say does not make sense. I mean, the way Henyard was speaking, that's a mayor, right? A mayor in this country.
For months, rumors had been swirling about Henyard's possible arrest, with many in the community believing it was only a matter of time before law enforcement caught up with her. According to reports, the FBI finally made their move, taking Henyard into custody.
South Chicagoland's supermayor might be going to a supermax prison very soon. The FBI issued multiple subpoenas in the last week, and now we know that a federal grand jury has been investigating Tiffany Henyard for corruption since November. I do not know what more they need to see. The residents of the town literally had a rally called Take Our Township Back last week. It won't be her first time behind bars, but unlike when she was arrested for vehicle trespass, she is now facing 22 criminal charges, and her own lawyer just dropped out because guess what? She hasn't paid her bills, and the city now owes as much as $20 million. This is what happens when people who did not earn their position of authority get access to power. If you didn't know, while she was voted mayor back in 2021, the vast majority of her income and power really comes from her position as township supervisor, where she makes over $220,000 a year. But she only has that huge salary because she inherited it with the position from the predecessor who passed away. Tiffany actually passed an incredibly shady ordinance, so if somebody defeated her in the next election, their salary would only be $25,000, so it's literally not worth it to run against her. You know it's a bad situation when the residents think the best idea is to bring in Lori Lightfoot for $400 an hour. It's so frustrating how slow the wheels of justice turn, but it feels like this story is starting to accelerate, and I hope that Dolton citizens don't have to wait much longer to see her in an orange pantsuit.
Trustees of the village, who had long been vocal about their concerns, expressed relief as they watched the FBI step in to protect them and the village from Henyard's alleged wrongdoing.
We have been asking for someone to come out here and save us. There have been a lot of spending, just that we're not really privy of, and we've been asking for answers.
The FBI's investigation into Dolton has brought to light several corruption allegations against Henyard, who critics argue has mismanaged the village's resources and engaged in unlawful activities. The probe has focused on Henyard's financial dealings, misuse of public funds, and her handling of village operations, all of which have contributed to Dolton's dire financial situation. Residents have been left to deal with the fallout as the small town has accrued millions in debt under her leadership.
Folks, breaking news out of Illinois. The FBI, they raided the village of Dolton as well as Thornton Township today, dropping subpoenas amid allegations of corruption against Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard. This is a story from ABC7. The FBI said, quote, agents were conducting court-authorized law enforcement activity in that particular area. They obtained personnel records, including those of police officers, as well as business records. Now, of course, the mayor of Dolton has come under a lot of criticism because of her actions. She has been ripped by many of her council members. When she came on the show here, she said, oh, she had done nothing wrong. It was all her critics Well, now this is escalated. The council also hired former Chicago mayor and former U.S. Attorney Lori Lightfoot to lead an investigation into corruption against Tiffany Henyard. There have been a number of allegations against her. One staffer said that she was sexually assaulted on a city trip to Las Vegas. You have allegations of folks not getting paid in the city. I mean, you name it. Also, people being illegally terminated. And so it's been lots and lots of drama. And again, when Henyard was on this show here, I had sources that were texting me that FBI investigators were literally talking to people as she was sitting on this set.
The controversy surrounding Henyard's tenure extends to her interactions with Dolton's law enforcement. A former police chief has spoken out about the mayor's questionable use of her police security detail, alleging that it was often used for personal purposes rather than official duties. This further fueled claims that Henyard misused her power, treating village resources as her personal property rather than using them for the community's benefit.
We needed those officers to be on the street fighting crime, and instead we have several officers that are riding around protecting the mayor.
Henyard's critics have described her as one of the most corrupt mayors the town has ever seen. Reports have surfaced of her intimidating trustees and firing those who attempted to expose her misconduct.
Tiffany Henyard is the most controversial mayor in all of America. So this mayor named Tiffany Henyard is the mayor of a place called Dolton, Illinois. And essentially every single resident in Dolton wants Tiffany out of office. This is mainly because Tiffany's very controversial use of taxpayer money. For starters, Tiffany has a full security detail that goes everywhere with her in the town. This security detail is estimated to be about $250K a year. In addition to security, Tiffany also uses taxpayer funds to do things like buying billboards with her face and name on it. She also puts her name all over government vehicles and buildings throughout the town. And she even has her own 2024 calendar. And of course, she put her own birthday in the calendar. Now, in addition to all of this, Tiffany has also made it extremely hard for anyone to run against her. Currently, she makes around $225K a year. However, if someone were to run against her and win, they would not be getting anywhere close to what Tiffany's making. This is because Tiffany is proposing a 90% cut in her salary, but only if someone who is not her is elected. This would drop the pay from $225K to just $25K. Yet even with that massive pay cut, people still want to run against Tiffany just so they can get her out.
The impact of Henyard's actions extends beyond the village's finances, touching the lives of individual residents who have suffered due to her alleged mismanagement. Survivors of her wrongdoings have started to speak out, sharing stories of intimidation, financial burdens, and a lack of support from the village administration. These personal accounts highlight the broader human cost of her leadership and the toll it has taken on the Dolton community.
She waited 20 years and she waited 30 years. I knew if it was ever happened to me, absolutely not, that I knew justice needed to come immediately. And that's why. So it might seem like it's a now for you, but this has been a long journey for me already. And I've already put my suffering aside, I put my depression aside. I've worked on all of that. I did my praying on if I should be sitting in front of you today saying my story. And I'm ready. That's why now. And I'm not just fighting for me no more. I realize that I'm fighting for every woman that's been in my position. I'm fighting for a sister that doesn't have a voice. I'm fighting for a sister that's scared. I'm fighting for a sister who doesn't have a sister. I'm fighting, not just for me. Being in our modes of being an assistant, we're saying stuff out loud, especially if the mayor's there, 'cause she's always doing something, so she wants to hear what we have while she's doing something or whatever. So now that assistant, she'll always say, okay, well, we got this upcoming trip. And then she said the dates, and she said May 21st, and I was like, that's my 31st birthday. I've never been there. I didn't necessarily know if I was going or not, but I definitely said, I want to make that trip. So Tiffany was, telling me, like, this is not, no trip like that. Like this, we're going down there for business. And I said, well, I definitely understand, but I still never been in the vicinity of Vegas. So even if I could just be there, and it's my birthday, I would still feel good. But I was like, you know how hard I work anyway, so I'm not even worried about that. And that was the conversation.
In one heated confrontation captured on video, Henyard can be seen shouting at trustees, angrily declaring, "I'm the leader." Her aggressive behavior only served to reinforce the perception that she had lost control and was operating without accountability.
Y'all forget I am the leader. They want to hear from the mayor. If y'all ain't learned that yet, the mayor, not the trustees that don't do nothing, that only run their mouth.
Lori Lightfoot, former mayor of Chicago, recently revealed detailed information about how Henyard had been misusing taxpayer money during her time in office. According to Lori, funds that were meant to improve the community were instead spent on frivolous expenditures and unnecessary business ventures. Critics have accused Henyard of recklessly spending public money, contributing to the village's financial woes, and failing to prioritize the needs of Dolton residents. Damning critiques of Henyard's time as mayor is the financial damages she has inflicted on the village.
She spent all of this money on airfare, hotels, and then money at restaurants like Ruth Chris's, Cafe Hollywood, Hot and Juicy Crawfish. And this was all paid for by the taxpayers because she was there attending a conference. She also spent a fair amount of money at Bubba Gump's shrimp company, and then she brought the hat that she bought there to her town council when she was being questioned about the money she spent in Las Vegas. Afterwards, Tiffany was asked by the local news station about her time in Las Vegas. I just want to remind you before you watch this clip, this is not a show. This is real life. This is not comedy. It's not a skit.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
No comment.
You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
Any other questions?
She's also recorded a music video with taxpayer dollars. It's not even her own song. It's just her singing over it. This is a legit comedy show. I can't wait for the documentary about this. Look at her with the cops. And the crazy thing is, all of the things I've mentioned, it's only the tip of the iceberg with her. I could do a 10-part series on Tiffany. She is the most iconic politician running right now. She just does what she wants, and then she just keeps it moving. She goes, I'm gonna keep spending taxpayer dollars. I'm gonna have to do a 10-part series on this woman because she may be the GOAT.
Tiffany Henyard's tenure as mayor of Dolton will be remembered as one marred by allegations of corruption, financial mismanagement, and misuse of power.
You mean Super City Girl Mayor Tiffany Henyard? I have been following this story for weeks. She should have been in jail yesterday. And it wouldn't even be her first time there. She has embezzled hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. She has defrauded her taxpayers, and she has the city in a $7 million deficit. And that's the tip of the iceberg. Her charity has been shut down by the state government after it was found out she spent tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars on nothing. Like when she spent 10 grand on a weekend bicycle trip to the capital of Illinois, Springfield, in support of a bill that was never filed when the state legislation wasn't even in session. And the $17,000 that she spent on merch. She says that she doesn't have a foundation and she's not involved in it. Like, bestie, your name's on it. There's the small fact that her personal security detail works not just double overtime, but triple overtime, often clocking as much as 200 hours in a single 2-week pay period, which is usually 80, and one guy clocked 303 hours. Should we talk about the Vegas thing? She flew first class to Vegas on the town's card, racked up over $8,000 in hotel costs with zero business justification or even explanation about what they were doing there. There's also the lawsuit and FBI investigation into the SA that occurred there to her personal assistant, who she then fired immediately after reporting it. But wait, there's more. Shuts down businesses that do not financially support her campaigns, and she hires child predators. But it's Illinois, so of course a corrupt politician isn't in jail. There is so much more. I might actually go to the town meeting next week myself.
As the investigation continues, Dolton residents are hopeful that justice will prevail and that their town can begin to heal from the turmoil caused by Henyard's leadership.
Just 4 days ago, she fired the chief of police because he was investigating all of those credit card receipts and all those claims of her funneling taxpayer dollars into her privately owned cancer awareness charity, which you cannot do. And in one of those investigations that the chief of police was investigating, it stated here in this tweet, and shout out to this person for tweeting this, they said Mayor Tiffany Henyard is one of the most corrupt ever. She actually hired a child to be her security, which what do you need that much security for? You're a mayor of a town with about 20,000 people. One of the officers was paid $13,000 in 2 weeks for 300 hours of overtime. Because nobody believes that. Nobody believes that anybody worked 300 hours of overtime. So this has to be investigated because it looks like these numbers were being padded. So the chief of police, or the ex-chief of police, had his attorney investigate these claims, and they're standing behind them that there were allegations of corruption, and he was investigating them. Now I'm going to do a little bit more digging because I think there's a lot more to know about this Tiffany Henyard story because anybody who shows up to a city town hall meeting dressed like Nino Brown is definitely doing something that they shouldn't be doing.
Dolton, a small town, now finds itself burdened with a staggering $7 million in debt. This financial strain has hindered the town's ability to provide basic services and has left residents grappling with higher taxes and deteriorating public infrastructure. Critics argue that Henyard's leadership has driven the village to the brink of financial ruin.
So not only does she serve as the mayor of this village, she's also Thornton Township supervisor. Now, she is being accused of historic misuse of taxpayer funds to the sum of, first of all, using the local police as her own personal security detail, costing up to $1 million. She's also being accused of misusing taxpayer money to pay for lavish trips for herself and collecting a combined salary with the supervisor position and her mayor position of $287,000, 20,000 people. The highest salary in our U.S. government is $400,000, and she's making just under $300,000. Now, before we go even further, just so you have a bit of an idea of some of the antics that Tiffany will pull off, this is her at a local public meeting dressed up as an infamous criminal kingpin named Nino Brown.
Local businesses in Dolton have also been impacted by Henyard's administration. Several business owners have reported that their licenses and permits have not been renewed, allegedly because they refused to contribute to Henyard's political campaign. These allegations suggest a pay-to-play system in which Henyard used her power to coerce business owners into supporting her financially, further cementing her reputation as a corrupt leader.
Some of these allegations, or accusations I should say, are so serious that even some local businesses are saying that their licenses and things that they need are not getting renewed after they made decisions to cut off ongoing financial donations to her campaign. So it's a pretty big deal, and this is one of the things that she was questioned on. She has this foundation, a cancer research foundation, that people are also wanting an investigation into, as she has not disclosed how she has used taxpayer money in that foundation.
Dolton residents have been vocal in their pleas for assistance as they endure the consequences of Henyard's leadership. Many have expressed feelings of betrayal and frustration, believing that their town has been abandoned by those meant to serve them. Calls for state and federal intervention have grown louder, with residents urging authorities to take action and bring Henyard's alleged crimes to light.
And the thing is, it's not just about misusing taxpayer funds. That's bad enough on the surface, but again, this is a small town of 20,000 people. All of these accusations that she's racking up are causing this town to go into unmanageable debt, and the people are crying out for help. Here are a few of these people. In fact, I believe they're looking at right now a $2 million deficit, which in a big city or a big town might not be that big of a deal, but when you are the village of Dolton in the middle of Illinois, it's a much bigger deal.
The arrest of Tiffany Henyard marks the end of a tumultuous period for Dolton. After months of investigations, allegations, and public outrage, it appears that Henyard's time in power has come to an end.
Tiffany Henyard's 2023 was amazing, but her 2024 has been nothing short of electric. As we know, Tiffany loves putting herself on some posters. If there's a poster in Dolton, Illinois, where she's the mayor, she's on it. That included Tiffany Henyard's Happy Martin Luther King Day poster, where she put herself on the poster very big and then put MLK in the bottom, in this little box, these two boxes. I guess you would say that was Martin Luther King's dream. Here we can see she wished everybody a happy Valentine's Day. Of course, she was on the photo. On the night of Valentine's Day, she held a party, which was, of course, a party not just for the town, but more specifically for herself and her friends at the town's ice skating rink. This ice rink was really never supposed to be built because the town's in $1 million of debt, but Tiffany Henyard said, no, we're building it. And she then put out a video where she bragged about building it despite being told, no, don't build it.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.